Modern physical spaces are saturated with an invisible, dense 802.11 radio layer. Before you open your phone, your device is in a discovery phase, broadcasting continuous probe requests into the air to locate available network access points. When you select a public hotspot, you encounter the open security dilemma. Network operators intentionally strip away link layer encryption and eliminate the need for a pre-shared key. This removes user friction, but it means the physical radio connection is completely unencrypted. Once the radio link is established, your device still cannot access the internet. It first needs local routing instructions, which it requests through the Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, or DHCP. This network topology chart demonstrates how a network access server provisions that connection. Through DHCP, the server leases a temporary IP address to your device, assigns a subnet mask, and dictates DNS servers to resolve web addresses. To protect the host organization's internal infrastructure, the gateway applies inter-VLAN routing restrictions. This isolates the pool of guest IP addresses into a separate virtual local area network, ensuring that public traffic cannot bridge over into the administrative systems. Administrators also enable client isolation directly at the SSID level. This enforces a strict rule preventing any two wireless clients on the same public network from communicating directly with each other, effectively neutralizing local peer-to-peer exploits. The commercial demand for absolute connection convenience dictates the removal of physical encryption. By stripping away that baseline security, the entire burden of data protection shifts strictly to the higher-level software protocols running on your specific device. The defining characteristic of public Wi-Fi is the captive portal. It operates as a mandatory gateway mechanism, intercepting your traffic to bridge the gap between your unauthenticated radio connection and a fully authorized internet session. Portals force this interaction using distinct technical redirection methods. Most networks intercept unencrypted web requests and issue an HTTP 302 redirect to the splash page, while more aggressive configurations use DNS hijacking to resolve all domain queries directly to the portal's IP address. Modern operating systems anticipate this interception. Windows, for example, uses the Network Connectivity Status Indicator. It attempts to reach a specific Microsoft text file. If the network returns a redirect instead of the file, the operating system instantly detects the portal and launches a mini browser. If a portal offers external authentication, like logging in with a social media account, the network must create a walled garden, permitting specific outbound traffic before the user is fully authorized. This logic gate flowchart illustrates that walled garden in action. The network administrator whitelists specific fully qualified domain names and IP addresses. Standard internet requests hit a dead end, but radius or OAuth traffic to authentication servers passes cleanly through the perimeter. To maintain network stability, administrators enforce idle and hard timeouts. These configurations forcefully disconnect inactive devices and set fixed session limits, allowing the network to rapidly reclaim and recycle IP addresses to prevent resource hoarding. The captive portal functions as a legal and technical toll booth. It intercepts an anonymous radio broadcast, forces adherence to terms of service, and transforms the connection into a highly tracked, monetizable session. Public Wi-Fi infrastructure conducts passive presence tracking. By capturing probe requests, the network monitors devices that walk into range, even if the user never attempts to connect to the SSID. Look at this geometric floor plan overlay. Access points capture the Received Signal Strength Indicator, or RSSI. By measuring that signal strength across multiple access points, the network triangulates your exact physical location to calculate consumer behavior metrics like dwell time. When you complete the captive portal login, the network executes authorized marketing analytics. It links the unique hardware identifier of your device to the specific personal data, like an email address or social profile, that you explicitly provided to gain access. To combat this surveillance economy, device manufacturers introduced a primary cryptographic countermeasure, MAC address randomization. Rather than broadcasting a permanent hardware identifier, modern devices generate temporary, random MAC addresses. Protocols like iOS 18 continuously rotate this address on a bi-weekly basis or whenever the network security profile changes. This creates intense operational friction. When your device rotates its MAC address, the network session table views it as a brand new, unrecognized piece of hardware, instantly forcing you back through the captive portal reauthentication process. On the back end, this randomization triggers DHCP pool exhaustion. A single mobile device rotating its MAC address rapidly consumes multiple IP leases from the available pool, locking out legitimate users until those old leases finally expire. Access to public Wi-Fi is subsidized by the continuous extraction of behavioral data. This creates a permanent resource-draining arms race between the tracking infrastructure seeking visibility and the mobile operating systems fighting to maintain anonymity. The complete absence of link layer encryption means the public Wi-Fi space is a highly permissive environment. The physical airwaves offer no barrier to entry for an adversary. The apex threat in these deployments is the evil twin attack. An adversary sets up a rogue access point programmed to perfectly mimic the identity of the legitimate public network. This timeline maps the reconnaissance and impersonation phases. The attacker configures their rogue node with the target network's SSID. To bypass basic security filters, they also clone the BSSID, the unique hardware MAC address of the legitimate access point. Next is the luring phase. The attacker injects forged deauthentication packets into the air. This forces legitimate clients to disconnect from the real network. The client devices immediately hunt for a replacement and automatically connect to the rogue node, broadcasting the strongest signal. In the interception phase, the attacker secures a man-in-the-middle position. Every piece of routing data between the victim's device and the internet now flows directly through the adversary's hardware. From this position, the attacker executes SSL stripping. They actively intercept secure HTTPS requests and force the victim's browser to downgrade the connection to plain text HTTP, exposing the payload. The evil twin attack requires no advanced hacking of the target device. It weaponizes the standard mechanics of network discovery, exploiting how operating systems are explicitly programmed to automatically trust and reconnect to familiar network names. In an open network, a data packet is not a straight line drawn between your device and the router. It is broadcast radially in all directions. Every piece of data you transmit propagates through the physical air. Passive attackers simply sit in the area with a standard wireless adapter configured in monitor mode. Using packet analysis software, they silently capture all this broadcast traffic as it travels through the airwaves. While modern HTTPS encrypts the payload of the web page itself, websites with poorly configured security protocols frequently transmit session cookies alongside that traffic in plain text. This leads to session hijacking. If an attacker captures an active session cookie, they can inject it into their own browser. This grants them instant control of your logged-in account, entirely bypassing multi-factor authentication. A complex password provides zero protection if the resulting authorization token is transmitted in plain view. In an unencrypted radio environment, the captured session token is the only proof of identity the server requires. Transport layer security and HTTPS provide the mandatory cryptographic baseline against local eavesdropping, moving the encryption from the compromised radio layer up to the transport layer. However, this packet structure visualizes a historical vulnerability within the TLS handshake. Before the encrypted tunnel is established, the client must declare which server it wants to reach. It does this by transmitting the server name indication, or SNI, field inside an unencrypted header block. This plain text SNI leak means that passive observers and network administrators cannot see the specific page you are reading, but they can see exactly which website domains you are visiting, allowing them to build highly precise profiles of your behavior. The definitive cryptographic solution to this metadata leak is encrypted client hello, or ECH. ECH encrypts the SNI field directly. It achieves this by retrieving a public encryption key from the destination server's DNS records, sealing the domain name before the packet ever leaves the device. Implementing this requires a major infrastructure shift. Networks must utilize modern DNS environments, specifically relying on HTTPS or SVCB records to securely distribute those encryption keys. By hiding the destination routing data, ECH neutralizes local network surveillance. It strips the network infrastructure of its filtering capabilities, effectively shifting privacy control away from the hotspot administrator and anchoring it entirely on the user's endpoint. For total full device encapsulation on hostile networks, virtual private networks provide a comprehensive tunnel that encrypts all application and browser traffic. This comparison table evaluates the two dominant architectures. OpenVPN runs on a massive codebase and uniquely supports TCP port 443. Because this port matches standard HTTPS traffic, OpenVPN easily bypasses restrictive network firewalls that attempt to block proxy tunnels. WireGuard takes a modern approach. Its strict reliance on UDP and a minimal codebase of just 4,000 lines provides near-instant roaming speeds and rapid security auditing, though it is far more vulnerable to strict port blocking by network administrators. Apple's iCloud Private Relay offers a specialized dual-hop middle ground. It shields DNS requests and Safari browsing by routing traffic through two separate proxies, separating user identity from destination data. However, it fails to encapsulate third-party application traffic, leaving other data exposed. Device configuration is just as critical. Setting the Windows network profile to public instantly disables network discovery and cuts off external access to the server message block protocol, preventing attackers from scanning for shared folders or printers. Mac OS users face similar peer-to-peer risks. While in public spaces, manually disabling file sharing and restricting AirDrop discovery to no one mitigates the threat of unsolicited exploitation. Looking forward, the rollout of the Wi-Fi 7 standard expands the adoption of opportunistic wireless encryption. This finally brings physical layer encryption to passwordless hotspots, steadily replacing the completely open networks of the past. But adversaries are evolving. AI-enhanced encrypted traffic analysis is emerging as a critical threat. Machine learning algorithms can now deduce browsing habits strictly by analyzing the size and timing of encrypted packets, bypassing traditional encryption entirely. Maintaining privacy in these spaces requires transitioning from a reliance on the network's open infrastructure to a model based on endpoint-controlled cryptographic tunnels. The choice to connect is a calculation that must be backed by technical rigor.